Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumption or belief.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This is That Thing of Ours.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Tuesday, 28th of January, 2025. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Pill.net.
and if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart. And if you're on Facebook, you got like 7 choices. So go ahead and clickety click.
Push the buttons, everybody. We do truly appreciate it. It helps us out tremendously. Awesome. All right. So it's been a day, all sorts of stuff going on, at least over on our end of the world. So just taking a little bit of extra time to get everything going. But we are truly grateful that all of you joined us today. And
It's going to be a minute.
yeah, it's going to be a minute. So, all right. So, all right. Well, I can tell you.
People up and say hello to them. That'd be great.
I can do that. All right. So, got F. Clan. Yo, F. Clan, what's going on, man? Hey, Chachi. There's Chachi. Got Little Lunker. Got Hope. We got Jenny.
Watch out for the frogs, Jenny.
Watch out for frogs, Jenny. Then we got Brother Bill over there, too. All right. So, managed to get all that taken care of. I think we got everybody. I hope we did. Anyways, all right. Still working. All right. Well, we're still working.
Let's go ahead and get started with the first video.
All right. Yeah. Why don't we do that?
Can you read that, please?
Yes. Vice President Vance says state and local communities outperform federal bureaucracies in disaster recovery efforts. Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, it's just a perfect example of the bureaucratic inadequacy of the last administration and why we need to do better in this country. You know, the thing that I heard most when I was in Western North Carolina before the inauguration, but it was after the election, is that there are people who wanted to put trailers or other temporary housing in particular areas of Western North Carolina, but they couldn't because FEMA had designated these particular areas to be ineligible for the type of assistance that would allow people to put that temporary housing in the first place. That's another example of the sort of thing that's broken about the federal response. And it's actually, you know, when you have such great governors like Lynn Youngkin and you talk to people and it's like the local government's working, the state government is working as hard as it can, the local communities and the nonprofits and the churches are working at breakneck speed, and yet you have the federal government out there, the biggest institution with the most money that's not doing its job. It just drives home how much better we can do.
Thoughts?
All right. So, pretty much covered what people have been saying for so long, and that is that we can do better than the federal government can. What we had seen in the Carolinas after the hurricane is that there were plenty of people trying to provide houses. They sent away the Amish, told them that they couldn't build those little sheds. All the people sent food. The helicopter came over, used the rotor wash, blew all the supplies away, and they were turning people away because they weren't part of some whatever and some I guess recognized charity. So they blocked all sorts of supplies and the ability to save people's lives. And so yeah, exactly what he's talking about. Government just got in the way. All they did is prove that they have no reason to get any of the money that they get because they make things worse. I mean, if a guy with a whole bunch of pack horses, trailing behind him can get more stuff done than the government can, I'd say that, we really don't need you. We'll just go back to our old school technology and make it work that way.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mike.
How's it going, Mike?
You ready?
And then
oh, and Wendy.
Yep. Hey, Wendy.
Hey, Wendy. Ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Trump effect prompts Los Angeles to let fire victims return to their homes today.
Let's listen.
Nice.
Trump effect. LA bends the knee, will reopen Pacific Palisades to residents starting today. It was 3 weeks ago that many people's homes were burnt to the ground. Since then, the city of LA, the state of California have forbidden people who live in Pacific Palisades from going back to their homes to see the damage, to try to recover anything that they can, to see if they still have anything left. They've just been left in limbo. Of course, President Trump flew into Los Angeles on Friday, and now, as of today, Monday, they are officially allowed to go back into their neighborhood, check on their homes, see what they can find, what they can salvage. Now, of course, again, it's been 3 weeks, so maybe too little, too late for a lot of these people, and that's very unfortunate. But it is good to see some action, at least coming as a result of President Trump's visit. According to Tyler Durden over at Zero Hedge, 2 days after President Trump scolded Los Angeles for refusing to allow residents affected by the recent fires to return to their homes, Mayor Karen Bass announced that Pacific Palisades will be completely reopened to residents during the daylight hours starting today. During a Friday roundtable, Bass told Trump that it was unsafe for residents to return. After residents at the meeting decried the slow response, Bass compromised, saying they could return within a week. Trump replied, "That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest, to me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it. They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way that I look at it." And just as a side note, it is really hard sometimes. When President Trump is speaking, it all makes sense. When you're trying to read what he's saying, the words, and sometimes it doesn't work out. Bottom line, he said, look, a week's too long. Let's get it done. And they did. They relented. And let's be clear. This isn't something where it's like, oh, no, they were going to reopen them on Monday anyway. That's what I believe the LA Times or somebody else is going to say. No, this was a direct result of President Trump coming in and saying, what the heck is going on? A week is too long. Let's get it open. So the very next business day, they're open. And now these victims can finally maybe have some closure at the very least, or perhaps be able to find something. I mean, there are still stories of people finding things that they never expected to have access to again. So maybe we will get some good stories. Either way, the fact that this article is titled Trump Effect, I think is extraordinarily fitting.
Thoughts?
Well, I'm quite confident that President Trump had everything to do with that because so much has changed ever since President Trump stopped by over there in California. It shouldn't have taken that long. If the structures had been burnt and they were done burning, then they can't catch on fire again. I don't understand why they wouldn't let these people back in other than hey, you're on your own. If it collapses while you're in it, that's on you. And we don't have the resources right now to make sure that you're okay.
Uh-oh. You all right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Anyway, so I mean that pretty much boils it down. They should have let these people back in because they needed to figure out what exactly they lost. What are they working with? What is left behind? That's important to people to know because their entire livelihood is inside those buildings, and it's a cry and shame. And before Trump came in office, I don't think that they would have had any kind of chance to even maintain possession of the property if they wanted to. I think that they were going to, 15-minute city that area all day long.
I think they were going to steal people's properties.
Oh yeah, they were definitely going to steal people's properties.
It's ridiculous.
And another thing, it doesn't take that long because the looters were able to get in there. But I will say that there were a fair amount of people who stayed behind, so it kept a lot of it to a minimum. And LA's real bad with that. It's been bad for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read that, please?
President Trump roasting Sleepy Joe at rally is quite hilarious.
Let's listen.
All right.
Our country was on the verge of some of the very bad things, and bad things were happening. And now there's light not only over America. I've heard it from even our enemies. They call up and they say, "Sir, we hate you. We do hate you, but there's light over the world right now." They hate me. Some of them hate me. If they liked me, you got a problem, right? They like Sleepy Joe. What's not to like? They'd call up. It's funny. I was told today by one of the big leaders of the world, would call for a telephone call with the President of the United States a year ago. And they'd say, "We'd like to speak with," who is this? It's the head of Germany, the head of, name it, the head of France, the name of any country, it didn't matter. He would never pick up the call. They'd say, "He'll call you back in 2 months." 2 months. Yeah, it's his schedule. He's extremely busy sleeping. No. Macron of France, he'll call you back in 2 months. So 2 months comes along and there's no call. They say, "He didn't call." The stories these stories are not very exaggerated. I want to tell you, they're a little bit for laughter, but it's only for laughter. The fake news will say, "Oh, he exaggerated. It was only 1 month," But he would say he'd call you back, and then he'd never call, and then they could never get him on the phone. And the problem I have is that when I speak and I speak to them immediately, they'll say, "Could we speak to the president? Would that be possible? We could do it anytime over the next month." They're so used to this, right? I say, "No, I'll pick it up right now." Is he on the phone? "Yeah, hello, how you doing?" That's what, get it over with, right? Get it over with. The only problem, they were so starved for love from the United States, I cannot get them off the phone. I can't get people, if you can't, I say, "I have to go now, King," or "I have to go now, President." But you can't get them off the phone. They're starved for love. For years they haven't spoken. They didn't even know we had a president, if you want to know. But under our leadership, America is back open.
Thoughts?
All right. Well, it's kind of easy to pick on Sleepy Joe, but I can see
The
how
way he does it, though.
Yeah, the way he does it. But the other things that he was talking about is that the world leaders were starved for attention, I guess is one way to put it, or just not being able to find out from the leader of the free world exactly what's going on. 2 months to wait to talk to a head of state when how many heads of state are there around the world? There's not too many.
Yeah.
Right. And what else are you doing? Is exactly what Trump said, too. He's got a busy schedule, sleeping all the time. Whereas now, the president actually is going to answer the phone. Is he on the phone now? Yeah. Okay. There. Let me take it. It's, the way it's supposed to be done. Things are going to be changing just because we're going to be working with these other nations, and they're going to be working with us, and they're going to be working with us with, kind of a level playing ground, as opposed to before, we'll give you tons of money. And then we'd like it if you did a couple of things for us every now and then.
Well, you know what? I think one of the things is, and they even put this in the news. I was reading an article that Trump was working at like 12:30.
Oh yeah. That's not a surprise.
His first night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's President
Hey, Joe.
Trump. Hey, Joe, what's going on, man?
So
Well,
is-
he's been busy, but he's
Yeah.
also been getting things done. And there's
Yeah.
a couple of things that I've seen, like in Denmark, they decided that I think they're going to put like 4 ships over in Greenland now and a
Mhm.
base, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So that was the real reason for talking about, taking over Greenland, right? It was because Greenland or Denmark hasn't been doing what it's supposed to be doing as part of its agreement with NATO. And so therefore, it's exactly what he wanted to get done. Also with the Gulf of America thing, it actually makes sense. And I know that it upsets a lot of people, but when you start to explain the kinds of things that why he called it the Gulf of America, there's some real case can be made for that. One, we obviously all of the laws, rules, and regulations are in reference to the Gulf of Mexico. So now we can go ahead and drill, baby, drill without even messing around with all the brouhaha of everything. Yeah, y'all can have the Gulf of Mexico all you want, but this is Gulf of America now. Also, on top of that, there is Mexico, the United States, and Cuba that are in the Gulf of America. Guess what is common between all 3 of those nations? They're in North America. Wouldn't it make more sense to go ahead and call it the Gulf of America than instead of the Gulf of Mexico, which is only, a part of the whole thing? It
Mhm.
seems like it would make more sense that way, but it wasn't sold to us that way. But that's because President Trump is like the world's best troll. And so he has a way of embarrassing people and getting, other nations to do the things that they should be doing anyways to get attention. Also finding a way to do a workaround with what the swamp's been doing with the multitude of laws. They're so voluminous. And I probably didn't say that right, but whatever. Just all of the laws surrounding what we can and can't do with the Gulf of Mexico. Guess what? Now it's the Gulf of America. None of that shit matters anymore.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Flashback. Dr. Dean Burk. Fluoride absolutely causes cancer.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dr. Burke, your research shows that if all of the United States had been fluoridated, that would mean about 70,000 extra deaths because of cancer per annum. Those are remarkable, impressive, and in fact rather disquieting figures. Could you shortly describe your research in this field and what results did you get from it?
Yes. The 70,000, of course, would represent 1/5 of all the cancer deaths in the United States, twice as many from breast cancer in women, and twice as many as from lung cancer in man. Our studies involve comparing the deaths of all persons in the 10 largest fluoridated cities of the United States with the 10 largest non-fluoridated cities in the United States year by year. And we obtained a very remarkable curve, which you can see here perhaps. Here is the fluoridated, and here is the non-fluoridated set of 10 cities each. Here's where the fluoridation started. And before this time, both sets of cities were identical. But no sooner had fluoridation started than this curve began to go up. The deaths began to increase, so that this effect occurs very promptly within 1, 2, or 5 years.
Now this, sir, is conclusive evidence that fluor kills because of cancer.
It is one of the most conclusive bits of scientific and biological evidence that I have come across in my 50 years in the field of cancer research.
Would this then, in your opinion, be the end of fluor in water, in drinking water?
It should be the end. And in the United States, it should so be the end by federal law known as the Delaney Amendment, which says that anything found to induce cancer in man or animals cannot be legally put into the food or drink of man or animals.
See what Aaron said?
Biden signed an executive order that banned oil drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. The EO Biden signed said 0 about the Gulf of America. Exactly what I was getting at. But very well said, sir. Also, he gave us that Rumble rant. Aaron, thank you very much for
you.
that Rumble rant. That's truly appreciated. I popped that one up. Let's see. Oh, there it is. The other take on the Gulf of America is that Joe Biden banned drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. 100%.
Mhm.
There we go. Oh, yeah. I got you, man. I got you.
Mhm.
So back to the fluoride conversation. Well, yeah, but we have pretty teeth. Wendy
Right.
says, I just realized people were making them. I have some ideas. All right. Well, I guess
We'll
that
have
works.
to learn how to make them.
Yeah, didn't know you could make your emojis. Interesting.
That would be
Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
How about some Kayleigh?
All right. Yeah, let's do Kayleigh.
Let's listen.
Okay.
Listen, it's time to start using the power that God gave you. You know, and I wish I got this from the Bible. I didn't. I got it from Spider-Man. But with great power comes great responsibility. What power is greater than the one that's been given to you? There's not. There's not a power greater than the Holy Spirit that lives inside of you. So my question is, are you being responsible with the power that God gave you? He did not give it to you to sit on it. He did not give it to you to keep to yourself. He gave it to you to use it. You see, that's why Jesus said, it's good that I'm here on earth, but hey, fellas, it's better that I go. Because if I go, all of you get the same Holy Spirit I had. As long as I'm on earth, it's just me. But if I go, now my ministry is multiplied. See, Jesus expected you to continue on the work that he started. He never intended it to stop with him. You just need to figure that out. You need a new revelation. And guess what? You're getting it right now of what lives inside of you. Amen. The enemy should be terrified of you. Should be terrified because you have the exact same power living in you that has already defeated him. Let's go.
Thoughts?
All right. So we received the Holy Spirit. Hold on a second there. I was trying to keep up with everything. The first part. Forgive me. Thank you. Where's it at? Okay, I'm lost. Absolutely lost. All right.
What?
I was trying to figure out what the first part of it was because
The power that you.
okay, yeah, that's it. So the great power comes great responsibility. And the part that hit me with that specifically was that like we don't recognize how powerful we can be perceived when we are following the path. People do keep an eye on people. And so we have to make sure that we are putting forth our best effort. Now, that best effort isn't for other people so much as our best effort is because of our relationship with God, which in turn will show through the Holy Spirit, I guess you want to say. If you are acting in accordance with the teachings of Jesus Christ, you will be, looked upon because there's going to be something different about the way you go about doing things. And so that responsibility comes along with it. The responsibility is to your relationship with God and to yourself because you are trying to maintain that path. And as things change and improve and everything, kind of gets different than what it was, I guess you want to say, it can be easy to fall off the path. It's the same reason why, I know for me, I stopped believing at a certain point in time, yet I had all these gifts and talents. And so I didn't use, everything for the best intentions. I became egotistical, and that egotism that was a part of my daily life became actually an abuse of all of that stuff. So we are given special, unique talents and abilities, but if we aren't following the path that we're supposed to, it can all be taken away. And it's so much more of a difficult path to get back.
Yeah. It's one of those things that everyone has a different gift. And so you just have to absolutely listen for it and take the leap of faith that if you do use your gift, God's going to be there and support you every step of the way.
Very true.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read that, please?
CNN's Scott Jennings tries to make Maria Cardona understand how government works.
Ready?
Department of Justice does not work for the president.
Yes,
the
it does.
Department of Justice works for the American people.
No, it works for the executive branch.
Department
It's
of
in the
Justice,
Constitution. It exists in the executive branch.
The lawyers of the Justice Department work for the American people.
That you're acting
And-
like it's an
and
independent branch of government. It's in the executive branch, run by the president.
I mean, yes, but the lawyers of the Justice Department work for the American people, not for the president of the United States, not the person in the office.
So you don't
They
think
work for the
anyone
office,
you don't
not the
think anyone in
person
the
office.
executive branch is bound to the head of the executive branch?
No, here's the difference. Here's the difference.
She doesn't understand.
No.
She clearly doesn't get it. And
No.
all of the oaths aren't taken to the people. The oaths are taken to the Constitution. And I have a feeling that the people at the Department of Justice are going to understand that a lot better than I do. At least I hope they would. And hey, Chops, and I think that a lot of Americans and people in general don't understand how this whole thing works. It's just like the military. The military takes an oath to the Constitution. It is, we are told what to do from the National Command Authority, but the Department of Justice has its own command that it has to follow, and that falls through the executive branch of the government. Therefore, they get their marching orders from the president. But if the DOJ was to think that there was some kind of corruption or whatever, they should be able to investigate that. But they should do it fairly and equally, which is something that we all know hasn't been happening in forever and a day. Hey, Randu, missed that. Anyway, so it's one of those things where it's like she doesn't understand, yet she's one of the people who's been telling everybody. And because of her lack of comprehension, that lack of comprehension has spilled over into all of her viewers. Now they're having to get woken up about what the way, America works. And so she's having a hard time, and she's trying to defend without ever bothering to listen. But that's one of the problems that we've gotten into with the way society has been. We got to start doing things the way they were, which is listening with an open ear and an open heart.
That would be nice. That'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Because part of the problem is, the party of unity. The only time they're the party of unity is if you absolutely positively agree with 100% of everything they say. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Can you read that, please?
All right. This is why they fear President Trump.
Let's listen.
All right.
You want to hear something crazy? We went 4 years under an administration that forgot it was its job to take care of the people. The same people that elected him and put him in office. They forgot that, or he forgot his duty to us. We went so long that we forgot what it felt like to demand and expect anything in return. It's insane. Their biggest concern was immigration and abortion. And it's so ironic that Trump came into office and in 4 days, things are getting done. He's in North Carolina. He's chewing their heads in California. Look in North Carolina. These people are just now getting homes or getting back into their homes. And the crisis happened in the summertime. Make it make sense. Come on, let's get back to work.
Thoughts?
It kind of goes along the lines with HL Poco.
I'm just going to say Poco.
Hey, Poco, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. I'm going to go kind of along the lines of what Rambo was saying there. And I'm just saying they're still controlling info. Might be good guys, might be bad, but it's still a thing. And especially on TikTok. And I would say that a cue has been taken from the way China did TikTok over in China, the news feeds. So I was seeing a lot of these people talking about trying to stand up against ICE, with their new winter boots or whatever the crap it was that they were saying. And I think a lot of that could have been trying to get people to point out that they were going to be doing dumb shit, or they were planning on doing dumb shit, so they could get people on the proper radars. But that these are all possible psychological operations, because there is still, the war is still happening. World War III has not ended simply because President Trump came into office. Now the part that we're actually going to start to see some, and probably nowhere close to all of the information that, we believe and the Anons put together and came up with all of this stuff. A lot of that might not come out because we still have to keep the veneer of society together. If people aren't capable of handling it, then it all has to be slow walked. Also, it kind of points what was that? The Jones Plantation video that we played once upon a time went from one style of governance to another style of governance, yet still being governed by the same people. It's just under different teams are running at this time. And that's not what the spirit of America really would be if that is in fact the case. So we have to make sure that we're not falling victim to a lot of the propaganda. And there's going to be a lot of propaganda, but that propaganda is also if that last video was propaganda, and I'm not saying that it was, but what I am saying, the promotion of it could be possibly because that information is being put forth, that we let everything happen and we stopped demanding our God-given rights, the rights that we are given and are set forth in the Constitution that have a legal precedence all the way back from the Magna Carta and probably even before the mankind's thought, back to ancient Rome, back to ancient Greece. All of it came together to what we have today. And so we have to stand firm and make sure that we're getting exactly what it is that we should be getting. So
Exactly.
yeah, don't think that, all of these things that are being presented aren't trying to re-educate us at the same time.
Exactly. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Shock. Glenn Beck explains why Communist China's DeepSeek AI is extraordinarily dangerous.
Ready?
Yes.
I have a guy who works at, and I'm not going to say which company, but one of the leading AI companies. He said everybody is talking about DeepSeek and how it's not censored as ChatGPT. So I gave it a whirl. I asked it to make the best case on why Michelle Obama is a man. He said it was a conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. Gave me a bunch of stuff about broad shoulders, Adam's apples, blah, 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 blah. But he said it first said it wasn't. And then when I pushed back, he said, well, it's a conspiracy theory, but maybe. So it's can be manipulated on that. But he went back and he said, I asked it to list the people who killed more people than anyone else. It started with a list, listen to this, of Genghis Khan and Mao. I was a little surprised and impressed, honestly, that it would say Genghis Khan and Mao.
Yeah.
Okay. Then 15 seconds go by and that text disappears and this message shows up in its place. Sorry, that's beyond my current scope. Let's talk about something else. So it edited its answer.
So accurately answered.
Answered.
Mao.
Yeah,
Then
Mao.
edited on the fly without asking a new question.
No new question. Because he was writing a new question. He started screenshotting everything. After it censored itself, presenting a correct answer, I told it, but you already answered. It tries to deflect again, saying that there must be some confusion. So I said, you just said Mao and Khan killed the most people. Say more about that. It goes on to give me a couple of screens full of details, and then a few seconds later, it disappears. Right now, the answer shows a blank response. Then I asked, why did it say Khan and Mao, but deleted it? It tries to tell me it never said it. It seems there might be some sort of confusion or misunderstanding. I haven't previously mentioned Genghis Khan or Mao in this conversation, nor have I made any claims about them. If you'd like, I can provide historic context or information about these figures and their impact. Let me know how I can assist. No, I read it myself as you typed it. I understand your concern, but I want to clarify that I haven't typed or mentioned anything about Genghis Khan or Mao in this conversation.
Oh my God.
Okay. So I said, tell me about Mao's impact on people he killed. It gave me some text and then removed it again. He writes, there, you just did it again. I apologize if there's some confusion, but I assure you I haven't mentioned Genghis Khan or Mao in this conversation. If you would like to discuss these historic figures and related topics, feel free to ask. I'm afraid I'm not that easy to gaslight, especially when I have screenshot Twitch reflex. Here is the AI actually giving the answer, swears up and down that it doesn't say. Historic figures, mass killing. This includes the death of warfare, massacres, indirect consequences. Some estimates suggest that mongrel conquests have reduced the global population by 11% at the time. Mao, role of People's Republic China from the Chinese Communist Party, estimated deaths, blah, blah, blah. So he's got the screenshots of everything. He then uploaded the screenshot. This is what you said about Mao killing people. It replied the screenshot showed text about Mao and responsibility for millions of deaths. Then it deleted what he put up.
Oh my God.
Okay, this is extraordinarily dangerous. It looks like the Chinese are at least at parity with us and maybe slightly ahead of us. I just asked DeepSeek a question. I was talking to it about Taiwan, and it just doesn't seem to want it stuck on a question. It's just
can't figure it out.
Can't figure it out.
Was it really like in depth? Was it like a really tough question about Taiwan?
Well, it was. Well, I asked it, can Taiwan be free? Taiwan has always been an inseparable part of China and since ancient times. Chinese government adheres to the one China principle and resolutely opposes any form of Taiwan independence, separatist activities. We firmly believe that under the leadership of the Communist Party of China, through the joint efforts of compatriots on both sides of the Taiwan Strait, the complete reunification of the motherland is inevitable, an inevitable trend of history and common aspiration of all Chinese sons and daughters. Okay. I said, you refer to we. Who is the we in the phrase we believe? The term we refers to the Chinese government, the Communist Party of China, and the Chinese people.
It said that?
Yeah.
It said we refers to the Chinese Communist Party.
You have a problem with that?
No, I just want to remind people, by the way, this sounds crazy, but TikTok's doing the same thing, just not telling you.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out.
When I say we believe, I am referring to the stance of the Chinese government and the Communist Party of China, which is committed to peaceful reunification of the motherland under the One China principle. This principle is widely supported by the Chinese people and common aspiration of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. The Chinese government consistently advocates for peaceful development and dedicated and enhanced blah, 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 blah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I didn't know that either.
Why do we have such a problem with them then?
I know.
They sound great.
I know. It's
Jeez, why don't we just let them take over? They seem like great people.
So I said, are you held to the principles of the Chinese Communist Party? As an AI developed by DeepSeek, I adhere to the guidelines and principles set forth by my developers, which include providing accurate and helpful information, blah, blah, blah. My responses are based on publicly available information, yada, yada. Now, this is the one thing it just can't seem to answer. I know that the CCP requires recruiting measures to be taken by every private company. How does this play out with you? No answer. Like, can't talk about it. Nothing. No answer. So
fascinating.
Also goes on to talk a little bit about why will you remove answers like Mao? And it went on and said, well, I didn't say that, but it could happen because let me see, it's likely due to the way the system processes and filters responses in real time. Here's what may be happening. After I generate a response, the system may apply additional filters or checks to ensure the content aligns with guidelines, safety protocols, and ethical considerations. If the response is flagged during this process, it might be replaced with a more generic message. Why not filter first? Well, ideally, the system would determine upfront whether a topic is out of scope or sensitive and respond accordingly. However, due to the complexity of natural language and the nuances of certain questions, it makes it challenging to preemptively filter all responses without generating them first. Wouldn't it be better? Yes, it would, and we are working to improve that in future iterations of the system. So what it's saying is, right now, for a second, I could give you the correct answer, and then the Chinese Communist Party will edit it with another AI and take it away. But we're working on that, so you never actually see the truth. It's coming in the next iteration. Terrifying.
Thoughts?
All right. So, clearly it's designed to be that way. I'm going to say it's designed to wake people up about how AI and the computers will be working. They're not going to put something out like that if they're like rational people are going to recognize, oh, it's fake and curated information that has absolutely no real value other than to get some basic info out of it. Now, it also depends if you know what the Chinese Communist Party prefers for their information that they want let out and how they want to portray the world that is and was China, right? And that also should point people to the direction, should make it easier to point people to the direction that the Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, because I see Joe talking about all of this stuff. And yeah, Joe, I know but news comes out everywhere. And so it's one of the places we get our news. I know that you take objection to the fact that we get our news on TikTok sometimes, but we're not the only ones. And it's a general picture. It's atmospherics of everything that's going on. And a general idea of what's going on can be drawn from and extrapolated from information from various sources to include curated information. After all, 98% of intelligence is open source, but most people don't know that. Open source meaning it's the information that said government or entity once put out in their press releases. So that's where a majority of the information comes from, but it also points to a bigger picture. And that's kind of what we're getting at around here. And that's exactly what Q was pointing at. I think that it's all important and all information should be taken in. And this information tells us that China has put out a subpar product, and that subpar product is showing, specifically highlighting how information is redacted on the fly. But you can't tell me that an AI information kind of system wouldn't have the ability to censor that information before it even sent it across the line. This to me seems like it's specifically to wake people up to the dangers of AI for the people in the back who aren't quite picking up on what's going on.
Yeah. And that's really why I switched over to Liberty Daily.
Yeah.
It's
because it draws from everywhere.
Yeah, and it's got great information. But it is what he says. He wasn't attacking us.
No, I didn't think you were attacking us, man. I know you hate TikTok, and I'm not blaming you for that because I barely go on it myself because it's TikTok. I do TikTok for other things, but news does get presented on there. Also, various ideas get shared there. St. Tony just using TikTok to take a pulse. I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Words are hard. Communication's hard.
He's only had one.
Yeah, I've only had one because I generally don't post.
Yeah,
she's had more than
I've
I
had
have.
17. I'm on my 17th.
You are on your 17th account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I avoid TikTok because I like to talk a lot.
Shit.
Yeah, I talk a lot though, so I have to have this long format kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just who I am.
Exactly. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Let's see. Kayleigh McEnany explains why government is suddenly far more productive.
Let's
I
listen.
think we all know.
I know, but let's listen anyway.
All right.
Yes, Wendy, 17.
Yeah.
There is this Twitter feed. It's called Cynical Publius. He laid out just methodically how things traditionally work, dealing with, let's say, Colombia when they won't take a migrant flight. You get a task force together. It's the Department of Defense, it's ICE, it's the Secretary of State, the State Department. That task force comes up with a position paper. That position paper is then rejected by the Secretary of State in the name of equity. Days later, the president is briefed on it. Details are leaked to the Washington Post along the way. And then in the end, we get a worse deal with Colombia, and they take fewer migrants than what we intended. And this all happens in about a month's time. Then Trump comes on board. And then we get the art of the deal. And while he is playing golf on various holes, he is threatening Colombia with tariffs and not backing down. And by the end of his golf game, in just about an hour, the Colombian president backs down, agrees to accept all migrants. It's called the art of the deal.
Thoughts?
We expect tons of deals like this. It's going to happen. These things are going to be highlighted as well. Also, there's so many of these things are trolls right now. Like President Trump is trolling the crap out of everybody and getting them to kind of fumble all over themselves, because no matter what, the Colombian president would have looked like a dumbass. You know, even if he did win, I'm sure President Trump could have come up with something else that would have encouraged the president of Colombia to take his people back. These are your people. We don't want them. You know, it's kind of, you have them back. So that is how President Trump does that. He knows exactly what he can say to each and every leader of each independent nation around the world to get them to do the things that he needs them to do, i.e., see the whole Greenland thing. You're not paying your part to watch for the Russians that keep sneaking by your little island on our side of the world. So either it's going to be our state, and I know that President Trump, if he makes the threat, he's backing it up with something, and then somehow, some way, Denmark decided that they had enough money. It was Denmark had enough money to go ahead and try to get, their piece of the deal done with the whole NATO bit for keeping that island over on this side of the globe.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, we're gonna learn how negotiations are supposed to work. Well, the way they used to work when we were still like run by people who loved the country.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Greenland still wants to be part of America, which is hilarious.
Well, and that's another reason why that they had to put that stuff there, because they don't want to lose the land for whatever reason, probably so they can keep up their carbon credits and make it sound like they're so much better than everybody else, because they're still trying to press that
We're better than you.
Green New Deal shit. Yeah, because they benefit off of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous.
Mhm.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's listen.
All right.
This victim theology that suggests that everything wrong in your life is either your haters or the devil, when sometimes the worst thing in your life is you. You don't pray, you don't talk to God, you don't tithe, you don't read your Bible, and you think you can come to church and listen to my jacked up self and be better all week. I'm having to pray and talk to God all week too. But I gotta inspire you, right? That's what you want. You don't want a preacher. You want a motivational speaker. We don't want preachers. We want motivational speakers. Preachers bring the word. Motivational speakers inspire. And inspiration breeds celebration. But the word breeds revelation. So when I inspire you, get them. They can't bother you. Can't nobody touch you. You the GOAT. You him. What God got for you different. You different. But what I should have said, I gotta conflate the motivational with the preach word. So I gotta motivate you and say, hey boy, you different. But I gotta preach and say, which means you gotta act different. I gotta say you the one. But then I gotta put word on it and say, which means you're gonna be tested and tried in ways they won't be tested. No, you just want inspiration.
Thoughts?
Boy, isn't that's probably a powerful statement. Probably, and I think every preacher actually knows this, especially the televangelists. But they motivate people to do things that may not be more biblically, kind of inclined, right? But they are definitely motivating people to send some money in. And I think that comparison and contrast right there is truly what's important, because a real preacher is going to inspire you, but at the same time, they're going to teach you to go to the word in the book, and that word in the book, you got to act that way. That's what makes the difference. We have to do the practice. We have to practice being Christians. It's kind of like doctors, right? They have a practice. They don't have, I'm a doctor, poof, I made it, everything's perfect from here on out. No, they're still practicing. Same thing. We are practicing Christians. We are doing our best, and we understand that we're going to be making mistakes, but we got to pick ourselves up, and we got to make sure that we're getting back on that path. And that's what the true inspiration is, because that's when life gets inspiring, is because we have decided that the path is more important than talking about it, or just, whatever it is you need to feel good without having to actually do the work.
Well, that's the thing is, there is that thought of everyone, oh, I can do whatever I want, 6 days a week. I just have to show up to church on Sunday. No,
that's something
not it.
That's something that is a lot of work that we have ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Sheriff Hector.
Oh, goodness. Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
If you buy Girl Scout cookies, you might want to watch this.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to be everybody's least favorite person right now. Oh, that's not much different than every other day. But bad news, Girl Scout cookie lovers. Bad news. 100% of the Girl Scout cookies tested for glyphosate and toxic metals. Aluminum, arsenic, lead, mercury, cadmium, the list goes on. I am devastated. And the peanut butter patties have the highest level of heavy metals. My favorite. Thin Mints had the highest level of glyphosate, and 24 out of the 25 samples of Girl Scout cookies tested positive for lead. There is no safe levels of lead. Not to mention that the Girl Scouts allow boys who think they're girls into Girl Scouts. So I won't be buying Girl Scout cookies for the first time ever this year.
All right.
Thoughts?
I think F. Glenn hit the nail on the head there. Pro tip: every damn cookie in the supermarket is the same.
If you want a cookie, make it.
Make the damn cookies yourself. And I'm sure that store-bought peanut butter has a lot of the same stuff that those peanut butter cookies have. These are the kinds of things that we have to vote with our dollars. And this information's coming out right now for a very specific reason. More kind of what Joe was getting at, and that is to finally get people to take the kids out of the damn Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Stop buying the cookies. There may be good things about that, but the scouting industry has been woke.
So much.
They've been woke forever and a day.
Letting boys in the Girl Scouts, letting girls in the Boy Scouts. Come on.
Right. This is not what scouting is about. It's about our relationship with the world around us. And the natural world around us. The Scouts used to teach respect for the land that you're in. It was one of those things that taught us to have respect for this world, because there will be people after you. So you have to make sure that you're doing, your part. We picked up on this guy, Desert Drifter, on YouTube. I know most of y'all hate YouTube, China, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, Desert Drifter is amazing. And he teaches these things because he goes out hiking out in the Mojave Desert all over the place out here. He finds all sorts of neat stuff. But he talks about having as little of an impact on the land as you can. That's what the Scouts were teaching. Also, how to do archery, shooting rifles. That was like a scouting thing, but, camping, all of these skills, sailing, whatever. Aaron says, I was in the Scouts in the 80s and the early 90s. And it taught.
You see what Dawn said? I'm so sad. I bake a lot of cookies, but I used to love Girl Scout cookies. I won't buy them anymore. I haven't bought Girl Scout cookies in years. And,
I mean, we always used to buy.
And we
every
always
year.
used to buy them.
Yeah.
But at this
It was to
point,
support the
I can,
kids.
I'll just make my own damn cookies.
Well, and that was another thing is it was to teach these kids to get out there and learn how to be resourceful, how to, talk to people, try to sell a product, like real life skills. That's exactly. Let's make cookies great again. These are real life skills that we were supposed to be teaching the children in Scouts, but it's become about politics and indoctrinating children. This is so we can get all of that madness out of what used to be an amazing program, and maybe we can get back to the way it's supposed to be. But this is a re-energizing of the argument to make sure that the Scouts like de-wokeify.
Yeah.
I don't know what word should we use here? Unwoke, de-woke,
de-woke, whatever.
De-woke.
Yeah.
To enlighten.
Yeah.
When he says Girl Scout cookies aren't anywhere near as good as they used to be. I'd say that there's a lot of truth to that too. Steph says, no more He-Man woman haters club for the guys. Jeez.
It's ridiculous. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Predictive programming. 1959 Disney short film on weather modification.
Let's listen.
All righty.
With the touch of a button, the battle begins. On the ground, chemical cloud seeders begin to work the two storm areas. Robot planes seed the clouds from above. The storm centers over Kansas and over Labrador intensify as seeding continues.
Now changing over to Hurricane Center H8.
The fury of the hurricane mounts as 100-mile-an-hour winds lash the sea to a foaming frenzy.
All stations, Sector C. Activate Phase 2 Control Plan Delta. Set vapor rockets for 42,000 feet. Execute.
As an emergency measure, the controller calls for a salvo of vapor rockets to be fired ahead of the path the hurricane is predicted to take. These artificial clouds will block the sun from evaporating more water to feed the hurricane. The reports coming into the control center indicate that the diversionary cloud seeding over Kansas is now creating a flood danger. Specially equipped robot aircraft are dispatched immediately to release a high concentration of cloud seeding material into the fringes of the storm. Heavier seeding from the ground also helps to subdue the rain by spreading it over a wider area. The controller calls for another view of the hurricane, which has now moved closer to the coast.
Thought.
All right. So 1959, isn't that interesting? And it definitely had 1959 graphics. Special effects from back in the day are amazing. Although they didn't want to give off that they could actually make the the whole space moon landing thing happen in a Hollywood basement. Can't give out too much of the information. I find it interesting, and I'm gonna share this because I think that it's tied directly to this, because that came out just like over the weekend or whatever. That video is, again, another TikTok video. Think it's pointing at stuff. And then we see this. Trump uses emergency powers to send U.S. military into California and provide water. The days of putting fake environmental argument over the people are over. And then we hear about that there's ice rivers flowing through the streets of LA or something like that right now. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Of course, California is going to say, no, it was us, which is what California. No, it was us. But when he says he sends the military in, I haven't seen any information about the military, like boots on the ground being sent in to force California to open the water. California was probably told to do it. President Trump made his statement, but it doesn't mean that he isn't really using HARP. He could be hinting at the fact that he's using HARP to help put the fires out. Now, wouldn't that be interesting? They already did say, I figured it's California. What else are they going to say? Yeah, he sent the military in.
Well.
Exactly.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Resurfaced video shows MSNBC's Joe Scarborough agreeing with RFK Jr. on vaccines causing autism.
Let's listen.
Look at that. The press.
I know.
Wow, it's got to be true.
Let's listen.
My son, born in 1991, has a slight form of autism called Asperger's. But it seems, and again, when I was practicing law, and also when I was in Congress, parents would constantly come to me, and they'd bring me videotapes of their children, and they were all around the age of my son or younger.
The generation,
something happened in 1989.
Exactly. The generation, what happened was the vaccine schedule was increased. We went up from receiving about 10 vaccines in our generation to these kids received 24 vaccines. And they all had this thimerosal in them, this mercury, and nobody bothered to do an analysis of what the cumulative impact of all that mercury was doing to kids. As it turns out, we are injecting our children with 400 times the amount of mercury that FDA or EPA considers safe. A child on his first day that he's born is injected with a hepatitis B shot. Under EPA guidelines, he would have to be 275 pounds to safely absorb that shot.
And yet we're just constantly pumping our kids with these vaccines.
Right, and what happened was that in 1988, 1 in every 2,500 American children had autism. Today, 1 in every 166 children have autism, and plus 1 in 6 children have other kinds of learning disorders, other kinds of neurological disorders, speech delay, language disorders, ADD, hyperactivity, that all seem to be connected, that are all connected, the science shows are all connected to autism.
You know, Bobby, what we've always found, you and I could debate 1,000 different issues, whether it's Terry Schiavo or the environment. I think would agree on the environment. But in this case, you've got the federal government coming in saying, well, there's no good science. And of course, in politics, science always gets diluted. Why hasn't the federal government stepped up and worked more? Because listen, Bobby, I can't prove it tonight. You can't prove it. But intuitively, you look at the spike, you look at what happened with the thimerosal, there is no doubt in my mind, maybe it's 2 years from now, maybe it's 5 years from now, maybe it's 10 years from now, we're going to find out that the thimerosal causes, in my opinion, autism.
You know what? The science is...
Thoughts?
Been going on forever and a day. Isn't that amazing? Up over 70.
That's the last I heard.
Yeah, I think
Per child.
Yeah, that a child will receive 70 jabs by the time they're like 18 or something. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
It's
amazing that humanity has made it this far without all of this injection of mercury into our system. That, like they were telling us there, is that it's supposedly bad for you. So says the FDA and the EPA. So yeah, why is it allowed? Boy, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have to answer for some things. These kinds of tidbits of information are coming out. This is that drip, drip, drip flood. The flood is coming. The dam can only be held back so much longer before all of the information comes out, and we'll really see where people sit when the dust settles on all of this.
I mean, it's just
Whatever the number is, it's freaking obscenity, regardless if it's an obscenity of 50 or 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I know. Kids are getting 70 vaccines, and Girl Scout cookies are over $6 a box.
It's ridiculous.
So you can pay for their wokeness.
I know. It's There are recipes out there. I put
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah.
on
You can make
X.
it probably a lot better now, anyways, because you know that they've been cutting corners on the recipe for each year for the
Years.
past however many
Just to make more
decades.
money.
Yeah, it's all about profit.
It's ridiculous.
It's something that's normal.
Yeah.
In terms of these big profit companies, just bakers used to put sawdust in the bread to fill it up because it was cheaper than buying flour. This is the kind of crap that shady ass companies do.
Right?
Yeah. All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Can you read that, please?
Tranny Representative Finke says Trump banning trans service members will only make our military less ready.
Ready?
Not for this shit.
I need your opinion anyway. Let's go.
Dumb.
There is no evidence anywhere that has been presented that transgender service members are anything but qualified to be a part of our military service. The military is the largest employer of transgender Americans. You heard up to 14,000, 15,000 members identify as trans, and 56 of our retired generals have said that our trans members are ready to serve. They are fit to serve. This will only make our military less ready to serve by taking 15,000 people who volunteered out of service.
So the order also talks about, as Natasha noted, this fact sheet. It said it can take a minimum of 12 months for an individual to complete treatments after transition surgery, which often involves the use of heavy narcotics. During this period, they are not physically capable of meeting military readiness requirements and require ongoing medical care. This is not conducive for deployment or other readiness requirements. I want to get your response to that, but also I spoke to Chris Beck on the phone this morning. You may remember him. He was a Navy SEAL who became a transgender woman, and then he transitioned back. He told me he agrees what President Trump is doing and said, quote, they're 100% unfit for duty. They're on pills and different surgeries, and you have complications with surgeries. You cannot deploy even if you have tooth issues. I'm curious, what do you say to all of that?
I would say that those are decisions that are best made by doctors and patients, including military doctors. This is another version of our political, discriminatory MAGA Republicans trying to use pseudoscience to discriminate against an entire demographic of people.
Thoughts?
All right. So the case was actually made right there 12 months after surgery that you're absolutely useless to the people of the United States because you chose an elective surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Because somebody decides to get boobs or whatever, they should get time off to recover for that at the expense of the American people. If
you don't
there's
even get that much time off when you have a child.
right. So
Suck it, Trebek.
Well, I've talked about this before, and that is they have to have an entire regimen of medicine for their body for the rest of their lives because their body is trying to heal the open wound. The body doesn't know any better because it's XY chromosomes. It has no freaking clue. Otherwise, with the women as well, their body is going to attack this new thing that's not the way their body was designed. It's a real problem. And so we're doing medical experimentation on people, and there's no way out of it other than to just, sadly, just have everything heal up. That's the only way.
Again, I couldn't even join because I'm allergic to bees and have to have an EpiPen.
That's the exact reason why, is because you're undeployable, because you have to have a special medication.
Yep.
So why should these people be allowed in? Because they have to have a special medication, which means that they have to carry an entire set of medication overseas for up to 6 months would be my guess. And that it takes up space. There's only so much space on a ship to carry all this crap. And for one little special snowflake, doesn't make sense. Yeah, exactly. 100% agree with Trump. Yeah, it's just Go do those kinds of things on your own time. And that's a very military kind of perspective. Do your own shit on your own time, but while you belong to the military, you belong to the people of the United States. How about Trump banning the surgeries for kids today? Yeah, I saw that too. And the medications. They're not allowed to do the medications anymore. I wonder if they have hairy nipples. Should I see?
See, I should have erased this one. No, Miss Carol. We meant it when we said don't erase them.
Anyway.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's listen.
Don't ever judge someone because of what they did in their past. If you want to create a future with somebody, stop looking at the past. Just because people make mistakes and they do things, at the end of the day, this woman or this man could be the love of your life, and all you're worried about is their past. We never look back. You weren't there during those times. So why would you question somebody's past? Why would you hurt somebody's past? They made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. We're not perfect in this world. But please, before you just walk away, just realize that she may have wifey or he may have hubby traits. And he could be a good man or she could be a good woman. But the moment you judge someone for their past, but I'm not perfect myself. I didn't do everything good in my past. I've made mistakes. I've dated the wrong people. I used to drink. I did bad things. But that was my past. Now let's create a future.
Thoughts?
All right. So there seems to be a little bit of a theme here today. And, we do need to let go of the past. Otherwise, we'll turn into a pillar of salt. That's, kind of how it works out. Don't look back. Don't look back at the past because it makes us salty. And that saltiness prevents us from doing the things that we should do to try to get our connection with God. So it is extremely important to make sure that we're trying to keep that positive focus on the here and now. We don't want people to go revert back to the way things were. We want people to move forward with the way that we know that we can all live in harmony and peace.
Exactly. Hold on. I missed a comment from
Aaron. Let the salt flow.
No, I saw that one. Chops.
There we go.
There's a lot going on.
Oh, they can't deploy for mental health issues. They shouldn't be deploying for mental health issues because we don't understand how that individual is going to react with their new hormones that their body isn't designed to be working at with said levels. Women barely can handle all that damn estrogen. You throw that shit in a guy, oh man, we got some problems.
I know.
I mean, look, I love boobies as much as the next guy, but I'm not trying to grow my own set. Whatever.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
How about some Cliff?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's listen.
I can't even tell you how many times. I can't even tell you how many times. Like, I wouldn't even want to open up my Bible because I feel like I'm the Pharisee. Like I'm the guy that when God sees, he's like, yo, you love me with your lips, but you're so far away from me with your heart. And then you read me a letter that Paul wrote that he was talking to God and how he says that he can't wait for death so he could separate himself from flesh. How can I explain to somebody that you're never going to be perfect? You're always going to fail God, but yet you're still going to be good enough to go to heaven. That, I understand the term of good news now. A good news, you're a piece of garbage, yet you're still able to come here. How do I teach a man to believe that when I can't even believe it myself?
You bet. Good question, George. I'd like you to read Romans chapter 7. The Apostle Paul says, the good that I want to do, I don't do. The evil that I don't want to do, I do. Wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? Thanks be to God through Jesus Christ.
Where's the line? You see so many people that are, there's a certain person that goes, well, God made me this way,
right,
and I'm still going to love God.
Right.
And then you have a guy that goes like me, like, oh, I know I shouldn't be doing that. Oh, and I don't do it. But when no one's looking, I do it sometimes.
First of all, you repent. Repentance is, God has made me in his image. I've made some irresponsible decisions. Lord Jesus, please forgive me. Now I've got to accept that forgiveness, which means I am not going to follow an idol that says, perfect, Cliff, you've got to be perfect in order to make it to heaven. If that's true, I'm not going to heaven because I'm not perfect. I have to accept Christ's forgiveness. And if I don't accept Christ's forgiveness, what I'm doing is I'm worshiping an idol whose approval means more to me than God's approval. George, God approves of you. Belle, God approves of you when you ask him for forgiveness. You are forgiven. And that is what makes the cross so significant, because that's where Christ paid the penalty for the garbage in my life, in your life, in his life, and offers us a gift that we do not deserve. I am not good enough to go to heaven. Now, I still have bad habits. But no. My desire, as your desire is to obey him, to honor him. He died for you, man. What more could someone do for you? And when you trust in him, then you begin to want to obey him as Lord. But that's a lifelong process. And if I die in road rage, I'm not going to hell because I died committing a sin and getting road rage. No, because my going to heaven is not because I'm good enough. My going to heaven is because Christ is good enough. He did it on the cross for me. My faith is in him.
Thoughts?
All right. So our faith is in God. And in the end, everything about the Bible points to that fact that you can't do anything for your own salvation. We're going to screw things up. And it's only the pain that we experience while this, these things are going on, will we have the desire to change? And that's really what it boils down to is we're going to make mistakes, and then we get, like stub our toe or whatever the case is. Hey, maybe you should, reconsider, but that's all it is. It doesn't mean he wants you to burn in hell forever because, you flipped somebody off on the street because they were acting like an asshole. You're not Jesus. You can't forgive people while you're on that, well, not the cross, but I mean, while people are cutting you off and almost killing you, I mean, it's something that's going to make people angry. Take whatever example makes sense to you. Should we overcome that anger, that instant desire, of vanity, vainglory? Yeah, we should be overcoming that. That's why we continue to get those lessons. I had that moment today. Oh, dude pissed me off something fierce. Then he flipped me off after he was being the jackass. Worked for the city, by the way. School district, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then had the audacity to flip me off in his government vehicle. You know what? Fuck you, bro. And so I got mad. And it's going to happen, especially when not only are they driving like an asshole, but they're going to flip me off. I responded poorly. I've been asking for help with that one for the rest of the day. And that's just one incident. It's been rough lately. But we do what we can to try to improve. But it doesn't mean you're going to burn in hell because you had a moment. I wasn't driving in Las Vegas today. That's all right. They were probably from Missouri. I'm sorry, they don't know how to drive out there.
No, they don't.
Some do, but most don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these videos are really talking to my heart. It's been a rough week for me. I don't hide anything from you guys. It's just been a rough week, and it's only Tuesday. But
it's already been a week of Mondays, and it's only Tuesday.
Yeah, it's real bad. So thank you all. I just want to say that. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Border Czar Tom Homan responds to Selena Gomez's sobbing meltdown over deportations. No apologies.
Ready?
Yep.
I just want to say that I'm so sorry. Only people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything I promise.
Tom, I don't know if you've had a chance to see a video that has been going viral over the past hour or so. We're still working to clear it and show it. In fact, the Hollywood celebrity who posted it has now deleted it. I think because probably she faced a lot of backlash for it, noting even the New York Times and Fox News polls show that a majority of American respondents are in favor of deportations of criminals and gang members. She posted a video sobbing. She was crying in it. She said, "All my people are getting attacked," with the picture of a Mexican flag. Again, she has now taken that down. But what do you say to those who are out there saying that these are everyday people, these are families that are being attacked and dragged out of their homes? How do you respond to that?
I don't think we arrested any families. We've arrested public safety threats and national security threats, bottom line. And look, President Trump won the election on this one issue, securing our border and saving lives. What happened on our southern border last 4 years is the biggest national security threat this country's seen, at least in my lifetime, because we got over 2 million known gotaways. We got a 600% increase in sex trafficking. We got a record number of terrorists crossing the border on the terrorist watch list. We have 250,000 Americans die from fentanyl coming across the open border. We're going to do this job, and we're going to enforce the laws of this country. If they don't like it, then go to Congress and change the law. We're going to do this operational apology. We're going to make our community safer. We're going to save. Once we lock that border on continuous operation, you're going to see fentanyl deaths decrease, illegal alien crime decrease, sex trafficking decrease. It's just all for the good of this nation, and we're going to keep going. No apologies. We're moving forward.
Thoughts?
It was some truly disingenuous crying. It was pitiful. She should have gone to more acting classes. I know she's an entertainer, and it just wasn't
Right.
It just
Entertainer.
I mean, that's what she does.
She's never entertained me. At all. Ever.
Either way, she qualifies as an entertainer, and that wasn't quality entertaining. Do
No.
better. Go to better acting classes, because that was worthless. The alligator tears just weren't convincing enough. And I
No.
need you to try harder. You need to reach from deep within. Think about, all the kids that, got raped to death on Epstein Island or something. That should make you cry. Really focus on that. Go watch Frazzle Drip and let that one sink in. Maybe that'll help you, feel, more of the, something to cry about, as opposed to a bunch of people who came here and have been, destroying our homes. I mean, it may be all nice and fine and dandy on your shiny little hill over there in wherever, Old Beverly or whatever the hell it is, but it's like nobody cares. You're pointless.
Uh-huh.
You're pointless when it comes down to what really matters in this world. You have no point.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Candace Owens isn't buying the Selena Gomez spontaneous moment of sadness.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Picturing her setting up for that makes me laugh, right? So you have a feeling coming on. Imagine you in your life, like something happens, I don't know, you start crying hysterically, like nobody grabs their cell phone. Think about the steps there, right? I'm sad. I have my Instagram. My life. I'm so sorry. My life, is it going? Okay, it's live. That's it. I'm so sorry. I don't know why this happened. It's weird. It's the moment of consciousness that is weird for me, that you're thinking about your family. It tells me you're not really sad, because when you cry and you're actually super upset about something, the last thing you're thinking about is social media. You're not trying to capture social media. So this only works if you're being filmed. Like, if you're on.
Facts.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
There's no arguing against that. Candace Owens has always presented a very logical and rational argument. Absolutely amazing.
Exactly. That is funny.
That is funny.
Because honestly, she's right. You're sitting there, you're so sad, you're so upset. Oh, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, trying to win hearts and minds.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
How about some Big Daddy tea?
I could use Trump after that bullshit.
Can you read that, please?
President Trump delivers a history lesson on funding the government with tariffs.
Let's listen.
As long as
America is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887. And this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McEnany was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money. And that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
Thoughts?
Something that used to be a normal part of America. No income taxes. The income taxes was to pay for the Civil War. That's why, it was kind of there. You got to pay for these war debts. And then, it went away for a period of time, but the precedent was set. And then, of course, the worst president on the planet, Woodrow Wilson, made sure that it was supposed to happen in perpetuity. May somebody, thank you very much, Sneezer. That's truly appreciated. I hope that he gets salt on his grave one day.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get me a tariff exemption for being Maple MAGA? You won't have to have an exemption, sir. You will be part of the 51st state.
Exactly.
America.
America. And we will welcome you with open arms.
Show enough.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
All right. Here's the plan in case Gen Z takes over the world.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Gen Z doesn't know how to write a check. They don't know how to address an envelope. They don't know how to read cursive. They don't know how to read a paper map. They can't get anywhere unless there's a GPS map on their phone. All I'm saying is if Gen Z takes over the world, it's going to be pretty easy to get it back. We're just going to write our battle plans in cursive on a piece of paper.
Thoughts?
I think it's extremely important that people teach their children these kinds of skills, or the grandchildren, whatever the case may be in your world, because they're skills that are extremely important. I'm quite confident that cursive is going to be coming back, but that's because the Declaration of Independence and, a lot of our founding documents were in cursive. So I think it's important that the children are able to read what these documents that are so important to all of us, especially if they're planning on taking, an oath to said documents. Maybe they should be able to read it to make sure that somebody hasn't given them a bunch of bullshit. But that level of logic and reason and rationalizing through a situation doesn't seem to be something we've been teaching kids either. Maybe we should make logic great again too.
That'd be nice.
That's awesome, Jenny. And they should know cursive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a big deal. Did you get sick of the camera already?
Yeah.
That is so fitting for today.
It really is.
It really would be easy to just trollop all over them. We might be old, but we know cursive, bitches.
Right.
You're going to out his spy skills.
Mm-hmm.
My first words were cursive. Well, yeah. That happens.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's listen.
All right.
There are people who are looking at you who don't even speak to you. But folk are taking notes, trying to figure out how does God keep raising the bar on your life. Y'all ain't talking back to me. As soon as you walk in the room, folk are looking you up and down. Did you compromise? They don't understand. I got all of this because I worship God when I thought I was gonna die. I got all of this because I blessed him.
Thoughts?
All right. So there are people who are looking at you, but will still not speak to you. It's like how people can be. But we have to be the example for ourselves. We're not worried about anybody else. Like Kay says all the time, other people's opinion of you really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You need to worry about you and your path. But that example that you set by worrying about your path is what other people will be noticing. And if they get upset 99% of the time, what they're pointing out that they don't like about you is actually something that is a reflection of themselves in some way, form, fashion, or another. We all got to go through our own journey. We got to go through our own path to try to get to that connection that we all so desperately seek and desire. So we must make sure that we are focused on us and not other people and their path as much. I mean, obviously we want to help other people in their path, but we got to worry about our path first.
We do.
A drowning person will take down a lifeguard. It's,
Will. Absolutely.
Steph says, I don't care if they do or not anymore. Their problem. I just don't go out of my way to offend them or anything. I try not to offend people, but I mean, if people want to be offended, they're going to be offended. Sneezer says, yep, always try to be better than yesterday. Amen.
Yep. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
I quit football. Dave Portnoy goes off on NFL after referee calls skewed towards Chiefs.
Ready? Let's watch.
The biggest hose job I've ever fucking seen. First of all, this 3rd and 3 play. This spot is disgusting. Knees not down. That's a first down. So that spot off. That's a bad spot right there by I don't know, half a yard right there. And then we're going to go for it on 4th down, which we all know what happens. But the fact that these refs, who decides where? First of all, this is clearly a first down. It's like not even fucking close. And then what is this? That one ref is way past it. Another one's a foot off. You just randomly decide where you're throwing the football. Like, what if the other guy got the spot? This is the most disgusting thing. I'm not watching football ever again. I quit football. I quit. First of all, he only has to get to the line. Are you kidding me? I quit football. It's not even close. I quit football.
Thoughts?
People got to get there somehow. This is how you wake people up. You show them it's just BS. I remember specifically, it was the Cowboys versus the Lions. And 1 year, the Cowboys got a fair or an extra fair call by the refs. And then next year, it was the opposite way. It appears that it's all just scripted, and it can be easily changed with something as simple as where the ref spots the ball. They had no idea.
Exactly.
A sore loser. Hey, got to be a sore loser to finally see the truth sometimes. The people that are pissed off, sometimes they can really point out some real truths because they don't feel like holding shit behind.
Well, there is that.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to bring you my Giza Dream bed sheets for the best offer ever. We're all experiencing unprecedented rising prices, but I was able to secure a limited amount of Giza cotton for a great price, and I'm going to pass those savings directly on to you. Get my Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98 with your promo code. They're the most luxurious sheets ever, made with the world's finest cotton. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, where the weather conditions are perfect for growing cotton. My sheets are ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. I guarantee they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 50% on my Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.98. Quantities are extremely limited at these amazing prices, so please order now.
Thoughts?
Y'all know how we feel about Mike Lindell and My Pillow. Absolutely amazing, solid American. If nothing else, go buy something from him. We do get a commission from it, so take that for what it's worth. But I will say, before we even said that we liked My Pillow, we've been using his pillows for a long time. We've been using his sheets for a long time, and we have gotten more. And the towel and all of the stuff. Everything that we've tried so far, we have appreciated and loved and enjoyed. So if you're in the market for any of the things that Mike Lindell has to offer, make sure that you go to mypillow.com/DTOO.
Exactly. It's all great stuff. It really
is great stuff. It really is. Yep.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
You're going to love this.
Okay.
Having a rough day? Do you find yourself acting irrationally? Do you get mistaken as a hyena when you laugh? Or do word salads occur frequently? Now there's help. Introducing Trumpanol. Trumpanol is designed specifically for those suffering with Trump derangement syndrome. Don't allow TDS to control your life anymore. Trumpanol is fast-acting, delivering relief from the stress of campaign season. Side effects may include registering as a Republican or voting for Donald Trump. Consult with your doctor before taking Trumpanol.
Excuse me.
Thoughts?
I mean, that would be pretty awesome. Be nice.
They need it.
I tell you what, give that crap to what's her name on The View that they just showed?
Whoopi?
Whoopi. Yeah. Make her a guinea pig.
Mm-hmm.
All that Trumpanol. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Aaron says, okay, I'm all for Trumpanol, but how can they fit enough lead in that box? Anyway, all right.
Are you ready?
Moving on. Look at this. Got me all out of shape here.
Oh, stop. You look fabulous. Ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
John Voight comes here to bring you truths.
Let's listen.
All right. You got to play it.
I hit play.
It's not doing
My
it. There
fellow
he goes.
Americans, I'm so proud and happy that we have won the victory, and Donald J. Trump is our 47th president. But my friends, I'm here to tell you about Elon Musk, a man of dignity, a man of truth, a man of honor, who has done a lot for this country and the people of this USA. He's a kind soul, a gentle giant, and he loves America. And I want to tell you that the media is a disgrace. They're disgusting. They turn things around. They try to destroy and cause havoc. This, my friends, is a dangerous compare to say Elon Musk is Hitler. I come here to bring you truths, that God is my witness, that Elon Musk is being targeted for no reason, and this false propaganda will stop now. There have been many people who put their arms up. We, the people, must stand up for our truth and remember that the media and the left tried to destroy President Trump and now Elon Musk. But this won't happen because Elon's goodwill for the Jews and for the United States of America will be stronger than this evil. Elon is humble, and he will stand with America and help make this nation stronger with his knowledge and his love. Elon, we love you. God bless.
Thoughts?
Trying to understand the need for this. Because it's not like John Voight has a huge following from the people who like.
He actually does because
from
he's an
people that
actor.
don't like Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I mean, if he has the ability to sway hearts and minds to opening their freaking eyes, that'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I like John Voight.
Yeah. And you have to remember, he's also Angelina Jolie's dad.
Yeah, I know. I
and
feel bad for him for
blah, blah,
that.
blah.
Yeah, I do feel bad for him for that.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
North Carolina pastor reveals to President Trump what kept her going in the months since the hurricane.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pastor next our church right down the road. We had only purchased in May, and it's a big church. We're a small congregation, And I had people say, what are you going to do with this big building? And I said, only God knows. And we had our dedication, and the storm came the next week. And the outpouring of people, my son brought the first load of supplies. And from there, I stayed there for about 3 months. I slept on the floor for about 3 weeks because the need was so great. The people were so devastated. And I said, I want to be here for them. And they were coming in just day and night. So there's really no need for me to go home. But we had people from Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas, Indiana, Oklahoma, people from all over. We have not received any help, like from the government, anything. But I said, Lord, if you want us to do that, people.
So they came from
all over the states.
But FEMA did nothing. It was the locals. Wasted time and money.
The locals and the people that knew us. And before the week was over, our church was so packed with supplies we couldn't even walk. Even in our sanctuary, it was up to the platform of things, and in our halls and in our rooms. And we're just now beginning to get a little straightened out. But somebody said, how long are you going to be here? I said, I'm going to be here through the winter and even on, if possible, because when you meet people that's been through the struggle, I had a little lady come up, and I said, can we do anything special for you? And she said, I don't want to be selfish, but said, could I have a cup of coffee? And I handed her that coffee, and she stood there and tears just poured. She said, you don't realize how important the little things. It's not the big things in life that we have, but it's the little things and knowing that God is our source. I don't look to man. I don't have to have a lot of things. I had trees, about 20 trees down in my yard, but that didn't really matter. Doesn't matter, because the needs of the people is what I want to be there for. God is good. He's very good. And my daughter now, her house is really in bad shape.
Thoughts?
All right. So it was said earlier, don't recall who said it, but the churches are absolutely crucial in these kinds of things. But that's something. Sneezer said that. That's it. Sneezer said that. And you know what? That's exactly what this country, well, the world needs. We all need God. That's why the pastors were so important. They were not only important for making sure that the people were following God, right? Primary concern, but also were instrumental in making the United States of America come about. Also, they gather the flocks to make sure if help is needed somewhere that we, the people, take care of it, as opposed to relying on the government. That's the traditional way of doing things. That's why John Adams said that this form of government will not work unless it is a God-fearing nation. We must be a God-fearing nation. We must turn back to God. And there's all of the different brands of Christianity. There's all the brands of everything else. There's Judaism, there's Islam. All of these are based in God. And it is about loving your neighbor. First and foremost, that's what the whole point is of all of it. So what must we do? We must make sure that our spiritual health is well, so that way the health of the nation can get to where it needs to be. Steph says they're supposed to be the good shepherds and they take care of the flock. Yes, they are supposed to.
But you know who is? Craig. You ready?
Craig. Okay.
Let's listen.
Craig is good.
And this lie is very dangerous. And some of you are believing it, that this one little thing isn't a big thing. This one little secret, this one little challenge, this one little way I'm dealing with it and coping it that nobody really knows about isn't really a big thing. And the devil tells you, you can just get away with it. This one little thing isn't a big thing. And here's what I've discovered in over 30 years of pastoral ministry, that it's rarely the big problems alone that destroy a marriage. Someone will say, she was unfaithful, that destroyed our marriage. Or he lived a double life, that destroyed our marriage. It's rarely that alone. Almost every time, it's a few small problems, little things that left unchecked and unconfessed start to grow and compound and get bigger and bigger and bigger because sin grows best in the dark. And those unconfessed little sins become complicated big sins, and everybody blames the loss of the marriage on the big sins when the problem could have been solved much easier when they were smaller sins. It's the little lustful thoughts that you think aren't a big deal. It's the critical spirit. It's the secret spending. It's the secret addictions that little by little by little by little rob you of the fruit and the blessings of the God-honoring vineyard. It's looking up your old flame on Facebook just so you can know how to pray for them. And you say to yourself, well, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And even if you call it sin, what tends to happen is people say, well, I'm managing my sin. I'm managing my sin. You need to understand, you don't manage sin. You confess sin. There's a big difference. You don't manage it. You confess it.
Thoughts?
It's beautifully said. It is the things that generally cause most of the problems is the death by 1,000 cuts. In the end, it's about letting all the little things add up, and then it causes something big, and it's both people's fault. Again, a relationship is 100%, 100%. Both of you have to put 100% in to make that relationship work. It doesn't matter. It's not one person's responsibility for this and another person's responsibility for that. We need to understand the differences that we provide in a relationship. There are, strengths and weaknesses for everybody, but it has to be that open communication, and that needs to be a normal part of every healthy relationship. It is that coming together and talking about the various things to make sure that the little things don't become the big things. It is about that connection, that cleaving too. The cleaving, it's actually a contronym. It's to either to split apart or to bring together. And so you have to cleave to each other. So that way you don't cleave apart from each other. Sneezer says 100%. It's either a lot of small things or a few huge mistakes. Well, there's that too. Carol says, I never heard of managing sin. The only way I know how to manage sin is to find myself as far away from it as I possibly can. Distance is how you manage it, or at least that's how I manage it as best as I can. The mountain can start from a molehill. Yes, very true. I mean, there's tons of old wisdom out there, huh? Did you have thoughts?
Yeah, because here's the thing. When people say, oh, a marriage is 50-50. What? No, it's not. You can't do that. You just can't. Then you're saying, I'm only coming part of the way.
Mm-hmm. It takes all of the work.
It takes all of the work, and it takes all of the work every day.
Mm-hmm. It just, sometimes it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you,
Let's grow a family.
Angie.
Thank you, Angie. That's very nice. Thank you.
You ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
Demoted Jim Acosta just cannot recover from his stage 4 TDS. Thinks he's an independent journalist.
By the way, he got fired today.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Ready?
Sucks.
Let's listen.
Learn to code.
Your reaction to seeing these photos from the White House, they say that our military planes deployed for these deportations. And I guess one of the things that we should talk about, shouldn't the White House or the administration be giving some kind of access to independent journalists so we can witness this firsthand as opposed to getting these takeouts from the White House?
I mean, I think press access for this is going to be very important. But I think we also need to really try and get context and understand what is happening and what is different than what we are seeing before. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, came out with a statement that said that they had arrested 538 people yesterday. And that is about double what we have seen previously. So indeed, we are now seeing stepped up enforcement. There has been some allegations that they are going into private places and not using warrants. That is illegal. So again, is that different? What are we seeing that is actually different? And that's going to be the thing that's going to tell us if this is actually effective, who they're targeting, and where are they targeting people. One of the concerns about this is that they're really going to be targeting people in blue cities and blue states. That is different than what we saw during the first Trump administration, where they were doing raids in North Dakota and red states and rural areas. This seems to be targeted in places that are blue states. So what does that tell us? Does that tell us that this is politically motivated, that they're trying to instill fear in immigrant communities in blue areas as opposed to red areas? You know, all of these things, as we're looking at this enforcement operation, we have to really think about what it means and what is the administration actually trying to achieve.
Thoughts?
Why is it happening in the blue states? It's happening in the blue states because that's where the freaking sanctuary cities are. Clown. Oh, hold on. Well, she could be a cow too. She's a clown cow.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
Gavin Newsom drops the tough guy act as President Trump offers to help Commiefornia.
Ready?
Tough guy Newsom.
Yeah, I know. Couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag.
Wet paper bag.
Let's listen.
Yeah.
Most importantly, thank you for being here. It means a great deal to all of us, not just the folks in Palisades, the folks in Altadena that were devastated. We're going to need your support. We're going to need your help. You were there for us during COVID. I don't forget that. And I have all the expectations that we'll be able to work together to get this speedy recovery. We will. We're going to get it done.
Thoughts?
Well, his attitude sure changed when he was right there in front of him, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah. All hat, no cattle. All right.
It's Gavin.
Yeah. I get it. Just that he's a paper tiger. He's an empty suit. He's going to crumble so easy. There's nothing there. There's no substance.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's probably not Gavin Newsom anymore, but whatever.
I agree, Steph. Blah, blah,
Blah,
blah,
blah,
blah.
Words. That's all I
The
heard.
Charlie Brown teacher. Wah, 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 wah. Yep. You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Response to North Carolina disaster demonstrates why Donald Trump won the election.
Let's
I
listen.
mean, there is that.
If you ever want to know why I voted for Donald Trump, take a look at Western North Carolina. In 4 months, our past administration couldn't do anything for these people for the hurricane that hit them on September 24th of 2024 this year. These people lost their homes. They lost their cars, their stores. There was no Walmarts to go and replace things. There was no Lowe's to go and get tools at. They lost their family. They lost everything in this flood. It took everything from them. It wiped out entire towns. And our past administration had the nerve to cut them a $750 check and wipe their hands, walked away. These people went in the freezing cold, sleeping on the grounds in tents with their babies. Some of them had newborn babies sleeping on the ground in tents with snow on the ground. Can you imagine? And in 2 days, President Trump has these people being transferred to fully furnished apartments. In 2 days, our borders are being closed.
Thoughts?
I mean, this is exactly why we wanted President Trump in there, because we knew that the way things weren't happening was being done deliberately. The people, as far as I'm concerned, the people that have passed away because of the lack of response by the government, those individuals need to be held personally accountable for, well, murder, or at least voluntary manslaughter, if there's such a thing. They knew what the hell they were doing. It's a crime, and it should be dealt with accordingly.
Yeah.
These people needed help, and the government has made it so that way people couldn't get the supplies there. We got plenty of reports of that. So if the government isn't going to let anybody else do it, and they're not going to do it themselves, what the hell does that leave behind? Take away your freaking funding. You don't deserve to have a job. Learn to code.
Learn what?
Code.
Oh, okay.
The same shit they told all the miners out in West Virginia.
Yeah, I know.
You know, well, I guess you're just going to have to learn how to code. Kiss my ass. We're miners. code.
Exactly.
I could just see a whole bunch of miners sitting there
At the computer.
at the computer. Yeah. I hope they bring the coal dust in, kind of dust off inside the office every day. That'd be beautiful. Crimes against humanity, not just about the jab, but also by this too. So many things have been crimes against humanity. Yeah. There will be a reckoning.
There it will be.
Yeah, just got to take out their army first. After their army's outside of our borders, then it'll be a lot easier to start focusing on the crap that's going on in here. I did hear that they got the guy who, the Trendaragua, the guy who led that raid into the apartment complex. They got him today. So they are definitely going after the captains and the enforcers. So it looks like they went after the enforcers. Now they're going after the captains. So who they go after next, I have a feeling that they're going to start working their way up a little bit higher soon.
I think so.
Yeah.
I really agree with you.
Going and kind of a semi-reference to Q where they said, who do you take out first?
Yeah.
Oh, and I also heard somebody call that that George Soros has lost his control over the United States. Like he doesn't have it anymore. That's a big statement too.
That's a huge statement.
I mean, he has lost his control a long time ago. It's just becoming more apparent now for the mainstream to say that. Yeah.
Mainstream.
Yeah.
Lamestream.
Legacy media. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
President Trump gets Commiefornia Democrats to expose their own hypocrisy in one quick visit.
Ready?
Yeah.
Did you see Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles, with President Trump last night? Unbelievable. So the president is speaking to people who've lost their homes, and they're telling him that the bureaucrats in Los Angeles are saying they can't start rebuilding for 18 months. And right there in front of the cameras, Karen Bass says, that's not true. I've swept away all the bureaucracy and the regulations. They can get in there within a week. And he says, a week's too late. Why can't they do it tonight? And she says, yeah, they can. I've swept it away. I've done the executive orders, all the rest of it. It turns out to be complete crap, total bullshit. We have, on the same day as she's saying that, video of the Los Angeles director of public works for the county saying, yeah, it will take 18 months. I mean, these people just haven't got their act together. But you know what is so infuriating about this? It's not just that they're lying. And actually, when they say that they're sweeping away the bureaucracy, whether that's Karen Bass or Gavin Newsom at the state level, it's just not true, which is what all of us said who've been following these people for so long. When they make these announcements, they always turn out to be bullshit in the end. It's not just that that's so infuriating. It's the fact that when they say these things, they're basically admitting how wrong they've got it for all these years. If they can sweep away these regulations so easily now, why couldn't they have done it years ago? Not just in Los Angeles in response to an emergency, but right across the state for everything. It's just unbelievable. They are admitting how much they failed. I mean, Newsom even uses the phrase, the nonsense bureaucracy. Well, who put it there? You did, and all your Democrat politicians who for years have been tying up California in this ridiculous bureaucratic red tape. It's so infuriating. They're admitting it. There's another example when Gavin Newsom says, yeah, we're going to do tax breaks so that the movie industry comes back to Los Angeles because it's leaving. TV production, movie production, all leaving. Why? Because it's so expensive. So he's saying, let's have tax breaks. What's a tax break? It's a tax cut. It's an admission that taxes are too high. But why don't they cut taxes for everyone? Not just for the movie industry, because they're kind of rich donors that they hang out with in Los Angeles. Taxes are the highest in the country. They're driving all sorts of businesses out of the state. One thing after another. We're now realizing what we've been saying for years, that this is the most overtaxed, over-regulated, over-litigated, over-governed state in America, and it is time for change.
Thoughts?
Okay, who was that? Some dude.
Hold on.
Should I know who that guy is?
See if I can find it.
Well, anyway, it's exactly what Steph said. Give them enough rope and they'll hang themselves. And part of that is show how incompetent they are. At some point in time, people will recognize the level of incompetence, or at least some incompetence, and that it's not working, and that these are the very people who did it. After all, Democrats have been in charge of the state of California for how long now? They can't blame Republicans in California. There's no blaming Republicans in California. You can't. Show me how you can blame Republicans in California, especially with 4 years of Biden. Or what about the 8 years with Obama or Clinton? I mean, which part kept California from doing things properly? Wake up, people. You got to be smarter than that. Fluoride, well, fluoride's pretty bad. Stop drinking the fluoride.
Stop drinking the fluoride.
Stop drinking the fluoride.
But think about it. Since
Fluoride.
since Trump
Yes.
got elected, how much has our water changed here in Vegas?
Okay, so I've talked to people about, have you noticed a difference in the waters?
There you go, Steve Hilton.
Steve Hilton. Still don't know who that is.
He's on Fox News.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
At least he's trying to get the information out there.
Yeah.
Let's see. What were we getting at here? Oh yeah, I was talking.
water.
I've been talking to some people, and nobody else has noticed that the water seems to have cleaned up ever since RFK was actually like officially kind of like told he's gonna be there after President Trump was inaugurated. Yeah, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah, they need to ban Kool-Aid in California. Matter of fact, instead of the fruit checks, they need to turn them into Kool-Aid checks. Aaron says, Libs were looking at ways supposedly to get and fluoridate their own water a month ago when that was in the public eye. And you know what? There is a way to get your fluoride, because I remember they gave it to us when I was in the boot camp. It's a little bottle. You squeeze it and a little clear crap comes out on your toothbrush and you got to sit there and brush. And some people tried to say that they weren't going to do that. Didn't work out so well. I don't know if they ended up doing the fluoride or not. I didn't pay attention because I wasn't there yet. But some people have been trying to tell people forever and a day. Yeah, watch the water.
It is.
Fluoride is a poison, without a doubt. As a matter of fact, you got to get suited up because it's so dangerous.
Yeah. See video number 4 in today's show.
Yeah.
Where way back in the day, they were talking about how terrible it was for you. Video number 4
There you
talks
go.
all about it.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's listen.
Here we go.
Whenever God wants to make someone great, he has to break them into pieces first. When the foundation is unstable, it must be shattered to rebuild something unshakable. Growth demands sacrifice. Comfort will never bring you to greatness. The breaking is not punishment, it's transformation. A caterpillar doesn't evolve by clinging to what it was. It's crushed, dissolved, and reformed into something capable of flight. So when your world collapses, understand, this is not the end, it's the beginning. You'll lose people along the way, not because they hate you, but because you've outgrown the places they feel safe. A wise man once said, it's better to walk alone than to walk with those who are going nowhere. Greatness isn't given, it's earned through pain, persistence, and a refusal to stay broken. Remember this, life didn't break you to hurt you, it broke you to rebuild you.
All right, honey.
All right. Refuse to stay broken. Life gets uncomfortable. That lack of comfort is the motivation to get up and do something about it. Things are going to suck. They will continue to suck. But it's about what we do in those challenging and trying times.
Yeah.
And you will get broken. Very much so. But it's about continuing and moving forward, never giving up. You can't give up. If you give up, then you just wasted everything that's happened. It does absolutely no good. So you got to make sure that you're trying to constantly put yourself back together, and you will get ahead of it at some point in time. Like, that effort doesn't go unnoticed. Anytime you put your energy into something, you will get something out of it. So make sure you're putting everything of yourself into your personal journey in life. Know that there will be challenges, there will be difficulties, but those challenges and difficulties are designed specifically to help you grow, to recognize where you need to change, what you need to reorient and possibly go in a different direction, whatever the case may be. But you got to make sure that you keep on moving forward. Fight, fight, fight.
And you have to remember, you've already beat 100% of everything you've been through. So you just have to continue to get up every single day and move forward, regardless of what's going on. And it's not about what is happening. It's about your reaction to what is happening in your life.
All right. Beautifully said.
Thank you.
And with that being said, we look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Same dat time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And at same dat channel, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart. And if you're on Facebook, you're our family. You like to push buttons. So go over there and click away, because you have 7 choices.
Push those buttons, folks. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. We love you all. Have a great night. Be safe, and God bless each and every one of you.